Reflection Paper on Wolf, Chapter 2. In this chapter, I am struck by Wolf's insight that the undeniable progress of inclusion feeds on the persistent practice of exclusion, which can stem as much from a good conscience as it can from an evil heart. This is a sobering indictment to us all, especially as Christ followers who seek to keep our consciences clear before God. Wolf wisely states, the other side of the history of inclusion is a history of exclusion. It reminds me of those 45 records we played in the 70s, in which many preferred to listen to only one of the disc's 2 songs. Wolf rightly admonishes us to make better judgments with humility and based on a distinction between legitimate differentiation and illegitimate exclusion. Wolf notes that God's design for creation and humanity is characterized by living and thriving in healthy interdependence. For several decades now, I've been seeking to align my thinking and behavior in concrete ways to move towards this countercultural and radical middle for individuals and within and between churches that lies between the unhealthy extremes of dependence and independence. I and we have a long way to go, but interdependence accurately sums up the theological direction I would like to continue to move towards and influence my congregation towards. We have done 1,000 tiny things to swim against the cultural and ecclesiastical tides. For example, serve together in teams, find many creative ways to pray together, seek to bring along another in every ministry situation. Independent ways of living stand out to me, perhaps because of a combination of my experience living in multiple cultures, my commitment to actually live in community, and my personality. What steps have others taken to nurture a community that is characterized more by life together, referring to Bonhoeffer's seminal work? Wolf's exploration of exclusion notes that the source of evil does not lie outside of a person in impure things, but inside a person in the impure heart. Wolf's warning about the will to purity, governed by a logic that reduces, ejects, and segregates, is a timely one and unfortunately easy to spot in many places around the world and church today. He calls us away from indifference, which can be more deadly than hate, identifying the vice that lies at the bottom of exclusion as desiring what others have. Wolf underscores Jesus' 2 greatest commandments, to love God and love others. No one should ever be excluded from the will to embrace. I am pondering Wolf's indictment on our human tendency to slip into violence, either personally or tribally. Instead of reconfiguring ourselves to make space for the other, we seek to reshape the other into who we want them to be in order that in relation to them, we may be who we want to be. When we are tempted to punish another, we do well to remember how God treated Cain. Even though Cain took his exclusion of his brother to the extreme of murdering him, lying about it, and denying any responsibility, even then God did not abandon Cain. We are invited into healing and life as we learn to love the all-embracing one who laid down his life for us, and thereby become wounded healers and broken love-bearers for others. Understanding full well that I don't know what I don't know, I want to learn better ways of speaking to, with, and about those who are marginalized in our word-saturated culture in which words as well as weapons can and do perpetuate unspeakable violence and exclusion.